Today we're going to talk about 10 steps how to secure your WordPress installation. Hi, so the first step is to find a good hosting company. Alright, so there are many different companies to choose from, like one.com, or maybe you have a Danish website. It could be gigahost.dk, I think it is. So choose a really good hosting company, someone you can trust. Don't be afraid to pay a little more to get some better security, some extra good stuff. Also rely on, do they have custom support? Can you write to them? How fast do they reply? Test it out. So choosing a good hosting company is actually alpha omega when you want to have a secure website. It has nothing really to do with WordPress, but WordPress is going to be on a hosting company unless you're going to host your own server, which requires a lot of technical skills to set up and secure properly. Don't use nulled themes. So on WordPress you can buy a theme and you're going to pay something for it. You know, that theme, you can also find it cracked, and that is called a nulled theme. Never use nulled themes because you never know what's done to them. They're probably out of date. You know, they are not. No one will, you know, keep it up to date and stuff like that. So basically, a null theme can be full of malware. It can be full of backdoors to your application and whatnot. So always buy good themes. Good theme in WordPress is behind a lot of programmers, professional people that do a lot of stuff and testing for their plugins, their themes, security-wise. Therefore, never used null themes. What you're going to do is also install a WordPress security plugin. It's not easy to find a really good one, but there are many good to choose from. If you go to WordPress and go to plugins and search for new, basically you're gonna get like a list this big. A few that I would like to mention is one called Security. Another one is WordFence. Also one is called All-in-One WP WordPress Security, or Anti-Malware Security, or the one called WP Scan Security. The last one I mentioned is also a plugin you can download for Linux and automatically scan your WordPress website. But it can also be downloaded as a plugin to your WordPress website, so it will automatically scan your own WordPress website. It got a database over 21,000 different vulnerabilities for WordPress. So I highly suggest you do install a secure security plugin for WordPress. The fourth rule is for you to use a strong password. So you do have a user you log in with. I suggest that you do not use your standard user, like the administrator, for normal stuff. Maybe try and install some user account, you know, management role plugin for your WordPress installation, and manage how you manage your application. So basically you create a user for creating blog posts and stuff, and you have your admin only for really difficult stuff that only an administrator can do. So you're going to use a password manager, and that password manager, let it suggest the very long and cryptic password for you, so it's going to be impossible to brute force your way access. Strong passwords, I would say at least 16 characters. Use a password manager. That would be the way to go. Disable file editing. So basically when you have a new install of WordPress, you can always go to the editor and you can edit files. Now it's very normal that if you can edit files in PHP, you can just insert your own backdoor, which is a piece of code that's gonna connect from your server, or where your hosting solution is, to a hacker's machine, and then you have something called a backdoor or shell running, basically enabling a hacker to get full control of the server. So please go ahead and disable file editing once you decided to make your website public. Number 6 is going to be install a SSL certificate. Alright, so never go with just purely HTTP. You need to be HTTPS. Now these days SSL is replaced by something called TLS, which is a newer version of SSL. Anyways, most people say SSL because it's a common thing, common word, common phrase, so but basically it means the same. However, you should go ahead and do TLS instead of SSL, but it is in theory the same. You're gonna change your WordPress login URL. By default, it is wp-login or wp-admin. So you need to change it to something different than that. vp-admin, vp-login, vp-whatever. I've seen various different attempts for people to change it. No, don't rely on security by obscurity, but just keeping the default login path is kind of inviting for brute force attack. So change it to something different. Just something different. That would be really good. But don't let it be something like login or admin or panel. Don't do that. If you have a really hard time finding good login URLs, give it a name, some numbers and a name, something that cannot be guessed easily. That would be just better. Alright, so the 8th recommendation for me is gonna be to limit the login attempts for your application. Now, maybe one of the WordPress security plugins that you install can handle that. But if not, then go ahead and search for login attempts or limit login attempts. Find a really good, theme, and not theme but plugin, and install that. Maybe create like 3 attempts, and then you need to do something to gain access to your account, maybe some verification and stuff like that. So limit login attempts. It's a really good thing. Another thing about login is that you're gonna need multi-factor authentication. Try and get some sort of plugin for multi-factor authentication. So this advice here is like a two-edged knife. Limit login attempts, but also make sure to have multi-factor authentication. To hide your config and your htaccess files. So basically, if I can access your wp-config.php or some way get access to the htaccess file, I have a really easy way to get access to all the other parts in your application. So go ahead and hide those 2 files. And I guess probably a very important one is to update your WordPress installation. You have no idea how many times I've seen people have this WordPress blog, and it's like you have version 2.5 and it's like version 4.5 is ready to be installed. It's like, what? 2 versions off? Typical. I heard that so many times from lazy developers, that if you update this site, that plugin is not going to work anymore because it's not supported, and no one delete that plugin, find a new one. About security, it has nothing to do with how beautiful stuff is or something like that. I know that your business might rely on a beautiful look, but there must be another plugin that can do the same thing that is more secure. Top 10 steps to secure your WordPress website. Thank you.